Happy Monday, all. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Uh, we've got a very special guest joining us this morning, but before I bring her on, let me say hello to everybody. Let's see who has joined us. We have got both Chris and Mark, the Bash brothers. Hello, guys. Good to see you. We've got Dave Bob. Good morning, Dave Bob. Chad Thomas, good to see you. The Geek Inside, hello and good morning. JPRPH1, good to see you as well. Project Storytime, good morning to you. Snorter Poopers Cuber, good morning. Colin P. Smith and Firefly, good afternoon, guys. Good to see you. Let's see, we've got Deepwood Martin, good morning, love. Good to see you. Who else? We've got Retro Doc, welcome. Good to see you. Hey, Nearsighted Cyclops, good morning to you too. Let me see who else has joined. Alison Stevenson, hello, lovely. Good to see you. Good morning. Let's see. Darren Prowess, great to see you and good afternoon, as always. Welcome to you. Louise, good afternoon, honey. Good to see you. I think that's everybody. Let's make sure I'm not missing anybody because I hate it when I skip over people. I think I've got everybody. Good to see you. And Paris, good morning. And Rajach sends us a super sticker. Thank you, honey. And it's a thumbs up. Much appreciated. Good to see you as always. Let's see who else. We've got Ren Zero. Good to see you. And the lovely Lady Mist. Hello. Good to see you, sweetheart, as well. And good morning to Butch 77 and Doctor Who chat. And Billy Duncan, hello guys, welcome. So, as I say, we've got a very special guest joining us today. Probably the greatest Whovian that I know. She is a fountain of knowledge, and whenever I need anything Doctor Who related, I go to her. So let me bring her on. It is awesome Starry Eyed Girl.
Hello, everybody. Wow, that was an intro. I'm disappointed, everyone.
And Ren Zero, I didn't miss you. I said good morning. Hello, sweetheart. And Cam, hey guys.
I've also brought a very special guest along that I think Mark and some of the other members of the chat will like.
Oh, she's back. it's the twerking llama.
Because if there was ever a day for a twerking llama celebration, it's today.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. She's got something to twerk about.
So, are you ready? I'm going to turn her on. That actually fit really well with your intro. I think she's taking lessons from.
That's I've missed that llama. It's been a while since she's been on. It's good to see you.
I'm not going to leave her on my knee this time because accidents happen when I do that.
Yes, it kept going off last time, didn't it?
It did. So she's on the desk. So hopefully that will have made some people happy.
So we were talking in the green room before we went live, and you said that because obviously you took the wise decision to, vacate social media. This came as a bit of surprise. You weren't kind of aware to begin with of the happy news.
I wasn't online. I was on the phone, and my friend Neil, who was in the chat, he said, "Oh, there's been an announcement from Doctor Who TV." That they're leaving, and we just kind of poo-pooed it because Doctor Who TV, it's a good site, but it isn't actually an official site. So I was like, it's just another rumor.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, my phone blew up, and it's the official Doctor Who Twitter page and Facebook page have just announced it, and I was like, wow.
So I've got to ask, as a Whovian, before I do, let me just say a massive thank you to our newest member. Yeah. Hello to Brightest Day. He joins us. Thank you, sweetheart. Welcome to you. Let me see here. And he joins us, a berserker. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Nice one.
Thank you. Much, much appreciated. So I've got to ask, as a Doctor Who fan, is this really good news? Is this, is this the news that we wanted? Is this what we needed, or is this kind of just a kind of stay of execution, if you will?
It, yeah, it's a lot of fans are very delighted with this news. You do have to kind of temper it because it's not going to fix everything, but it is a good, it's the step in the right direction. The first part of it is get these out. It's been really interesting because the media's have been kind of turning on Chris Chibnall, even the Jodie fans and the Chibnall supporters who like all this wokeness he was bringing to it.
Mm-hmm.
I've now kind of turned on him and said, it's your fault. You didn't do enough for this female doctor. It's not fair that Jodie's leaving. The woke eating themselves alive yet again.
It's always satisfying when that happens,
Yeah.
is it? So are they saying he didn't write, a good part for her? Not that she didn't act, or do any research.
It's basically it's all gone to like his feet. He didn't write for it. He didn't do enough. And to be fair, they're right. He didn't, but he didn't do enough for any of the characters. They're the most undeveloped characters in the history of the show.
But isn't that always the way? They always say that, do better. It's never enough.
Never enough. So it has been. Yeah.
Thank you, Billy Duncan. He says Starry giving Netflix ideas there with a twerking llama.
It's probably already there, but if you type into the internet, there's something about a twerking llama.
Thank you, Billy. Much appreciated, honey. So basically, no matter what they do, the Jodie fans are going to say, it's not her fault. It's the writers. It's it's Chibnall's fault. It's everybody else's fault but her.
Yeah. The excuses are coming. She didn't have enough episodes, which she didn't, because this has been one of the shortest runs.
Not short enough, but still.
Yeah, exactly. From my point of view, it's fantastic. But it's the only concern is obviously, like with all the big corporations, this is still the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
We've got rid of the hand puppets, but obviously who's working them from behind is still there. So until that changes.
Interesting choice of words there, Starry.
Yeah. It's Alison, it's probably you that's done it. Oh, Mark, there'll be a video from Mark later.
And speaking of Mark, he says it's the BBC's fault. Pretty cut and dry. The great experiment failed. Clean up the mess and move on. Do you think that they can move on? I mean, they've basically run onto the rocks the BBC's greatest sci-fi show. This show has 50 years behind it. They had generations of fans that loved this show. I've never seen anything fall apart quite as badly as this Doctor Who has.
It's really overtaken Star Wars and Star Trek to be the most affected. Because again, it's the attitude of the BBC. They wanted this, and there is an argument to be made that it was starting to get stale with Peter Capaldi. Not his fault, just creative decisions. I mean, the general consensus with fans about Peter Capaldi is he was a brilliant doctor, but the writing wasn't up to scratch, because this is when the wokeness was already creeping in. So the idea of changing things up, I can see why the BBC would want to do that, but they back the wrong thing.
The BBC wanting to make money after all this time.
I know.
For shame.
Who would have thought? But yeah, the biggest thing is, as we all know, and even if you're not a fan, we've seen it repeated so many times in our franchises. The gender swap wasn't a creative decision.
No.
It was an ideological one.
I think the worst part of it as well, but let me just grab this super chat that Chris has kindly sent in. Thank you, Chris Persia. You shouldn't have any. It says, a quote from Jodie. So, I've always loved Doctor Who and everyone in the cast, the crew and fans. whilst omitting she meant her era. As we all know, she never watched Doctor Who nor researched the character. And that brings into the point that I was going to go to. Thank you, Chris. Much appreciated, honey. I should say it wasn't done as a kind of, okay, this is the next progression. Let's try something fresh. Let's try something new. Because initially, even, people that were skeptical were kind of on board. This could be interesting depending on who's cast.
Yeah.
But I think it was literally because of who we ended up with. That's where the blowback came from.
Yeah, absolutely. And you won't know because you're not much of a fan of Doctor Who, but there have been female Time Lords in the past, beloved characters. There was a Time Lord called Romana who travelled with Tom Baker's Doctor, and she's absolutely adored by the fans, and she actually became the president of Gallifrey at one point. Catherine Tate's character became part Time Lord in a couple of the episodes. David Tennant, he has a daughter in the episode. It's very timey-wimey, and she ends up being a Time Lord, and that would have been the perfect route to have gone down to. You could have had a spin-off series.
Yeah, people loved her character. And
she was well loved.
Yeah, I love Catherine Tate. I mean, hell, even for the parody, we had Joanna Lumley as a female Doctor.
Did a much better job. She'd got the look, she'd got the gravitas. Even though, you say it was a parody, the biggest failing is that Jodie she hasn't got charisma, she hasn't got charm, she's certainly not got authority. You need somebody who can walk in and have that commanding presence. In some episodes, you forgot she was there. She was, she wasn't even the main star of her own show, and that's saying something when the companions were written really badly as well. Like the Doctor can't be bland and she can't be forgettable.
Was there any particular reason why there were so many companions for this? Do you think it's because of the lead actor? She didn't really kind of command a presence, as you say. Because I like Bradley Walsh as a person, but I think even he would have made a better Doctor.
There were a few points that some of the things he said, he actually could have been a Doctor. I think it was partly to hide. Let's see if we can cover up how rubbish she is. It rarely works out with more than two companions, just because there just isn't enough for them to do. It was tried in the 80s, and it's really amusing actually, because Chris Chibnall is actually really critical of the 80s Doctor Who. And so whether he thought, well, I can do better, I'm going to show it how it's done, and it's completely backfired. Or even Bradley Walsh, it was awful in the second series, because I think people had cottoned on to the fact that he was the only good thing in it. So he became the comic relief, as so many white, straight male characters at a certain age become recently.
Yes, he became the fool instead of somebody who, could have actually been a competent character. I've got to admit, I kind of dipped out. I've watched maybe 3 episodes of Jodie's run. I do remember watching the special, because we ended up talking back and forth, and we were just, making fun of it the whole time. But even as a casual fan, I can see why the diehard fans were so upset. And
so what made you tune in? Was it because of the gender swap? Was it like curiosity?
It was curiosity, yeah. I do absolutely remember somebody mentioned it in the chat that she was in Broadchurch. I remembered the actress, and I was just curious, how are they going to do this? But yeah, she lacked charisma. And hello to Larry, sweetheart. He says, love seeing two ladies who share our love of Doctor Who. Thank you, honey. And Project Storytime has a really good point as well. He says Matt Smith is one of the most childish of the Doctors, and yet he could be ruthless when it was called for. It's been said before that with Doctor Who, you need somebody who is a character actor, somebody who can, tap into the dark side as well.
Jodie is definitely not a character actor. She's not been really a leading actor. I think she did one thing before this, which was another BBC series called Trust Me, where she was
Mhm.
playing a nurse masquerading as a doctor, ironically enough. Yeah, I think that was foreshadowing. But she's just not that kind of actress, and yeah, so she can do supporting roles. She's very good at the emotional stuff. I understood she cried a lot on Broadchurch. She didn't even do that. Doctor. Yes. You know, putting that because Purple Valkyrie doesn't know the Voyard is.
Yeah, means nothing to me. Sorry, that's one
Um,
directly
but
towards you.
yeah, the Moons of Madness makes a really good point. The thing with obviously with the Doctor is he's an alien and
Mhm.
he's been around a very long time. He's got to be able to blend in among humans. But the switch of a hat is alien again, and you need to be able to see in the face, especially the eyes. You have to believe that he's an alien and he's 2,000 years old.
Yes.
And Matt Smith could do it. Everybody could do it except her.
I always like the kind of callous side that a lot of the actors brought out of him as the Doctor. It's great to go on adventures with him, but you're it's at your own risk every time you do it. I
Yeah.
always like that kind of peril that came with it, but just didn't seem to be that there with this new Doctor.
Well,
And
this doctor was callous and old, unintentionally. Half the time she used to forget where her companions were. She didn't care. There's a scene where Bradley Walsh, I mean, I remember shouting at you about this. Bradley Walsh's character, Graham, confides in the doctor that he's scared his cancer's going to return. The episode is centered around the fears.
Mhm.
And she just walks away from him. She says, I don't know what to say. I know I should say something comforting, but I'm socially awkward. And she just buggers off to the other side of the console. Like, what? I know the doctor's an alien, but he does have compassion.
It's gonna have
Compassion is kind of one of like the big things.
Yeah, there's gonna be some empathy. I mean, this character saved the universe multiple
Yeah,
times. Oh my gosh.
there's no way that the doctor wouldn't have something reassuring to say in that moment, especially when it's a companion. I mean, there's brilliant examples where the third Doctor, John Pertwee, is just with some guy in an episode and he's scared and he says, courage isn't about being brave, it's about being frightened but still doing what you have to.
Mhm.
And yeah, it just completely, yeah. It's it's like it's even worse than watching Star Trek Discovery. You're speechless at the what what you see and how these characters interact.
Mark says, I'm calling it right now because it annoys Starry when I say it. David Morrissey will be the next Doctor. Has there been, just before we get into the real meat
Yeah.
of what's going on, has there been any speculation about who will be taking over, or do
Oh,
you think there's going to be a
there's,
hiatus?
there's always speculation. Currently, there was a rumor about the guy from Years and Years, Ollie Alexander,
Mhm.
which I mean, but his agent has come out and denied it, and I'm kind of glad because it is a gay man,
Mhm.
which is fantastic. But as we know, the media they would not be able to leave that alone. It would be the first gay doctor, Ollie Alexander, the first gay doctor in the TARDIS, and so yeah, I really don't want it to go down that route. A few women have been suggested. The woman who was the Black Anne Boleyn, that actress.
Yes, and we all
That's
saw how well that show went. Yes.
yes. Chris Marshall is in it, but he's been in it for about 10 years since David Tennant regenerated. It's like every year it's like Chris Marshall.
So I
It's not
like
going to be Chris Marshall.
It's not, but I like Chris Marshall. I could
I
actually see
do.
him. I think, he's got that kind of quirky look, but I
It,
think, unfortunately,
it could have done it,
he
but
could have
in
done
this
it.
current climate, it's not. Like David Morrissey would be a brilliant choice. He's too big. He's not going to do it now. And even, it's I doubtful it's going to be another straight white male. I know there's a lot of rumours going around that it's Michael Sheen. I would love for Michael Sheen to be the Doctor again. It's not going to happen. He's
Hmm.
too big a
Well,
star now. He's got good omens too.
exactly. Yeah, they're now doing
And
a bit of
again, he's a
good
straight
omens.
white male of a certain age, so it's just not going to happen, unfortunately.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, exactly, Chris.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. And Colin says
Yeah.
there's also speculation that there may not be a 14th Doctor and the show will be rested. Possibly the best results. Do you think giving it some time to breathe would be a good idea?
I
Or
think it would be a really good idea. The ratings are abysmal. Yeah, I mean, I love this show. I wouldn't want it to go away, but it's become something that it's not even that I hate it anymore. It's gone beyond that. It's just apathy now, and it is really upsetting. So I think, yeah, it should be rested for a few years until this, wokeness, this because
Mhm.
it's got to end at some point. It can't go on indefinitely.
No. No, it can't go on indefinitely, absolutely. And as you say, this isn't just the only franchise that has been affected by it, but it does seem to be the one that's caused the most hurt with among the fans. I mean, other than Star Trek and Star Wars,
Mhm.
these are the big three that have really kind of suffered because of it.
And it's because it suffered the most is because Chibnall has gone back to the past and is trying to retroactively change the past to make it more woke. Whereas, Star Trek kind of did that with, Burnham being Spock's sister.
Hmm.
But Chibnall, actually managed it. He's managed to kind of mangle the past. And there's lots of Doctor Who fans that are now like, I can't even watch the classic series. And I
Because
know Gary from Nerdrotic and Az, they're of that opinion. And it's heartbreaking. At the moment, I can,
hmm
put it to one side because I just don't accept it. But obviously, there's some fans that can't. And, it's awful that they feel like that.
it is heartbreaking, especially as you say, because we've had this show for so long. Because people have grown up watching it and then they've passed it on to their kids. It's a sad way to end what was an amazing show that the BBC had.
Mhm.
Um, I've got a article that I'm going to bring up that we can go through, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So this is
Mhm.
one that I read. Let me just grab a few more comments before we go into it, because
Mhm.
the chat is on fire today.
Mhm.
Hello, guys, and good morning to Canadian Spider-Man. Good to see you. Retrodoc says, however long it takes for the public to forget this train wreck,
Mhm.
that's how long the hiatus needs to be. Yeah, I think probably the best thing would be, to give it a good long rest. But again, will the BBC do it? Ren Zero brings up a good point as well, with the prospect of the BBC losing their license fee money. Hashtag cancel your license. The
Yes.
BBC for Doctor Who will be in the budget for Doctor Who will be in the toilet. Well, the
Right.
budget's been going downhill steadily anyway, hasn't it? If I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
But they've never had a particularly big budget. But yeah, it's at this point it is non-existent. That's why the episode count's been getting shorter and shorter.
Do you think it made a massive difference that they moved it from the Christmas to the New Year's as well? Because that was always
Yes,
a big deal for fans.
it was. Yeah, well, it was a tradition. Yeah, oh, absolutely. You just don't get the same amount of people watching. Christmas Day usually with your family, and you're boozed up and you're stuffing your Christmas dinner, and you just want something to entertain you. New Year's Day, most people are still recovering from New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it completely the wrong decision. But I mean, Chibnall, I don't know. He's got a thing about Christmas. He really is the Grinch. There's some brilliant memes going around of him as the Grinch.
I think he obviously got coal for Christmas one year and just never got
Oh,
over it.
he did.
And hello, Stick Kenobi. Good to see you, sweetheart. Good morning to you. Uh, Retro Doc, I've grabbed this one. He says, "You mean there was a budget for Jodie's outfit?"
Apparently, so.
Oh,
God.
at least it's an easy cosplay to do, I suppose.
She chose that. She went up to the costume designer and went, I want this.
Oh God.
And nobody thought to say, are you sure? I mean, one of the initial ideas for Matt Smith's outfit, you know, he got the bow tie and the tweed shirt and everything. It was
Mm-hmm.
going to look like a pirate.
Oh, okay.
Can you
A little bit
imagine?
out there, but
We're not going, I want to look like this. And somebody like, well, Matt, let's think about this.
it's not Pirates of the Caribbean, Matt.
Yeah,
Tone it down.
we're like, no, but we'll go with the clown outfit.
We'll go through this article now, but I just love this picture because, again, the only picture they found of her is where she's got her mouth open.
She's always got her mouth open. Oh,
So this comes from Screen Rant. It's one of the ones that I read over. So it says, Jodie Whittaker's exit continues a Doctor Who tradition and breaks another. Jodie Whittaker is leaving Doctor Who after 3 seasons, plus specials. We'll get into the specials in a
definitely
moment.
special.
In the TARDIS, continuing a tradition of the show's modern era. So it starts off, Whittaker will leave Doctor Who after season 13 and a series of 2022 specials, which means she'll continue one tradition while another is broken. Having regenerated into the TARDIS back in 2007 to replace Peter Capaldi, Whittaker has continued the role of the 13th Doctor. But is she the 13th Doctor anymore because of what they did?
Oh, apparently she's like the 13,000.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Through 4 seasons of the show so far. Well, you even pointed out earlier, these aren't full seasons, are they? Because they're cutting the seasons short.
This one, when it returns in autumn, series 13 is 6 episodes.
Yes, so as well as a trio of New Year's Day specials. So we've got 6 episodes and then the specials in quotations to round it out to what would normally be, an average length season. So I thought the whole idea of specials, but that they were added on, they're bonuses for the show. Not they don't make up they don't make up the numbers.
No. Welcome to the BBC.
It goes on to say, as announced on the 29th of July, as well as Whittaker leaving, showrunner Chris Chibnall, who she joined under the show in the first place, is also on the way out. The Chibnall era, the show has proved divisive for its approach to canon.
Understatement of the century.
To canon and continuity.
Yeah.
I love this. It's so tongue-in-cheek, this article. It's why I picked it. But Whittaker's take on the Doctor has generally been well received. Really?
Well, as on Twitter.
Well, if you listen to the shouting on Twitter, you would believe so. But most of those are bots. Of course, it's an accepted part of the job description that playing the Doctor cannot last forever. But Whittaker's exit follows a curious trend for the actors who take on the role of Time Lord. I'll just leave that there and see what else people are saying.
She's got her mouth open again.
She's got her mouth open.
She doesn't know how to close it.
Dick says Whittaker is like when you date a stripper and you realise she dresses like Rose Teak all day when she's not working. Kind of a line like a vegan steak. That's a great analogy. I love that.
That's brilliant.
And Colin points out, it does sound like the way they've written it. She regenerated into the TARDIS, as in she became the police box. I think they mean she retarded. Yeah. She regenerated within, but I can't even.
She can't even drive the TARDIS. She crashed the TARDIS.
Yes, I do remember.
In fact, the TARDIS spat her out.
Even the TARDIS didn't want her. I remember that joke. First time we get a female doctor and she crashes the TARDIS. Yes. Good morning, Keely Chow. Mike says Jodie is a flycatcher.
Absolutely.
Oh my god, you guys are nuts. And stuff. Project Storytime says no purple. She got the job because she always has a mouth open.
Josh.
Damn.
Oh,
We've got some spicy people in the chat today, but
yes.
he's not wrong. So where did we get to? So specifically, Whittaker will leave Doctor Who after 3 seasons, which is the same number as all the other modern Who actors who have lasted, with the exception of Christopher Eccleston, who stayed for only one. Oh, that's a whole different scenario.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't really compare that.
Yes. So it says Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi had 3 full seasons on Doctor Who alongside the usual season specials. So even they had the extras as the specials. They weren't included to pad the numbers.
No.
While David Tennant was like Whittaker, given a string of additional specials in order to give him a proper send off. This isn't just applicable to modern actors, though. Several classic Who stars, including William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, Peter Davison, and Sylvester McCoy. There are varying reasons for each departure, but it means there's enough for it to feel like something of a rule and one that Whittaker is sticking to.
But actually, I just need to go back. I'm sorry, it's the pendant in me, but William Hartnell only did 3 seasons because of his decline in health. He would have liked to have played the Doctor, well, forever, for as long as he could.
Mm-hmm.
Sylvester McCoy only did 3 seasons because the show got put on hiatus. He would have liked to have played it for longer. And ironically, the show was getting better. In fact, the show was healthier in 1989 when the BBC axed it than it is now.
I'm just laughing at some of these comments. Says woman tried to reverse part the TARDIS, it's ruined now.
Have you seen the inside of it, Purple?
I haven't. I know it changes constantly depending on who the Doctor is, but isn't it really bland, the version that she
They've
has?
released a playset of it. I don't know who's going to buy it because it's £40. $40. It looks like a butt plug. I'm not joking.
Well, we were joking about the look of her sonic screwdriver as well. That's more than a little bit suggestive.
Yeah, it's like everything. Let's see what we can do to not take this Doctor seriously.
Do you think that she was serious in the character that she took on, or do you think it was just because it's such a famous role, it's a means to an end?
Yeah, she never took it seriously. I think she thinks it's silly.
Mm.
And I think she did it, well, obviously because she wanted to get paid. She did it because her friend Chris was doing it. She liked the idea of having a platform. I know that keeps getting repeated as well. Oh, it's such a good opportunity. It's such a good platform. She doesn't care about the show. She pretends she does, but she doesn't. I think she thinks like everybody who was getting upset about it are just silly, like we're all kids. She doesn't understand it. It is just like another job for her.
She did seem to come across just as somebody on the outside, as someone who was quite dismissive of the fans. She really didn't kind of endear herself to the fan base. Is that kind of true to say?
Yeah, I mean, they did one of the promotional pieces. They've got a video of her reading like comments from Twitter and her answering to them. And some comments were good, some were less good. Some were like, expressing doubts about having a female Doctor. And it would have been perfect for her to have said, well, give me a chance. And, I'm going to prove you wrong. And she just pulled her face and went, oh, for every bigot who doesn't like a female Doctor, there'll be a little girl who's inspired. Some rubbish like this. And I'm like, oh, well done, Jodie, for that, for that, promotion. That's really going to endear yourself.
Yes, it sounds like she was playing the female card, but had no idea that there were, a great big proportion of the fans that are female, and just you're really not representing them very well.
Yeah, and one of the first trailers was her breaking the glass ceiling with her sonic, and she just looking at the camera and going, "Oops." And I'm not making it up. You can.
I believe you. I do,
And
honestly.
I was like, on what planet did they think that was a good idea?
And Trinoculus brings up a good point. Inspire a little girl, but to do what? Yeah.
Turn off, because that's what a lot of. Honestly, it's even worse. Female fans of Doctor Who are not watching it because they can't stand her. There's nothing to admire.
Mm-hmm.
Because the traditional, the male doctor and the female companion, it's a formula that's worked for over 50 years.
Yes, I mean, you think how popular some of the previous um, companions have been.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Jane,
Yeah.
beloved by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine Tate's character, people loved. Um, what was he? Ace. People loved Ace's character.
So, yeah. Jenna Coleman. Apparently, lots of people liked her. But that's what you had and it wasn't just because you were beautiful. You had the good-looking company. There was some very nice male companions. There was Arthur Darville,
Mm-hmm.
Rory. But that's the formula that works. And yeah, people do like it if they're good-looking. People love Sarah Jane. They love Joe Grant and Ramona. But that is the formula that works, and not even if the Doctor isn't as conventionally good looking as maybe David Tennant, there was still that thing of it being a male Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Women like having a male Doctor. Women like, it's like that James Bond thing with the Bond girl.
Yes.
Women like the idea of an alien landing, taking them away and whisking them off time and space. Nobody fancied Chameleon, Mark. Maybe you did. And the modern series leaned really heavily into that. I'll whisk you away. We'll go on these adventures. We'll save the world. And this is why modern James Bond isn't working, because you're mixing with the formula.
Yes. Yeah. You're messing with what made it so popular. Let me just jump back and let's see if we can pick up a few more of these points from this article. I know you guys, you hate this article, but I picked it specifically because it's so ridiculous. There are much better written articles.
You're triggering me. You really are triggering me with it.
This one just stood out for how stupid it is. It's like a backhanded slap. They're trying to be nice about it, but they're really failing. So let's go back. So it says it's easy to see why 3 is the magic number for Doctor Who actors. Again, there were variable reasons. Hartnell, as you correctly said, left due to health. But generally speaking, 3 seasons gives the current occupant of the TARDIS a full go of things without risking the show becoming too stale, since regeneration is a core part of the Doctor's character. It also makes sense from the point of view of the actor. Doctor Who is a demanding show. Physically, mentally, and emotionally, it leaves little room for taking on other parts. So a 3-year stint is likely enough for many to get the full experience and then feel ready to move on, allowing the actor to bow out and the show to freshen up once again.
There's so much rubbish in that.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's so much bullshit. It's so good.
I don't think Tom Baker was the Doctor for 7 years. I think if you went and told a Tom Baker fan that the show had got stale, I think you'd get punched in the face.
That's not a purpose. Says this article shouldn't be put down. It should be thrown out of the window. Project Storytime says Ace was amazing. Donna was the best of New Who. Charlie Pollard was my favourite companion.
Oh, it's an interesting one. Charlie Pollard is one of the Big Finish companions with the McGann Doctor.
Oh.
She's not even on screen, but that's how much it takes up the imagination. The Doctor Who fans. It's still better than.
Robert Verlinden says Billy Piper was the perfect mix of trashy and cute. I was actually surprised at how good she did as a companion. I was
I
never a
did
big fan of her anyway, because I remember her as being,
the
she was a
singer.
pop star singer, yeah,
Yes.
and not a great one, admittedly. But I thought she actually did pretty well. She had a really good chemistry with David Tennant.
She did. I prefer her in the first series with Chris Eccleston. She
Hmm.
started to get a bit clingy when David Tennant came along. But yeah, she was perfect for bringing it back. I do have a soft spot for her.
And Mark says actually his favourite companion was Nisa. Love that character. She was foil to Davidson's Doctor.
She was, but this was the era when there was three companions, and Nissa was quite a quiet character, and there were a lot of time where they didn't know what to do with her. So she was either asleep, in a trance, or kidnapped and put away because
So she was the literal damsel in distress.
yeah, which is really unfair because yeah, she was an alien princess, and there was so much you could have done with that. But,
And Loki's got a great comment. Good morning, Loki. He says,
hi, Loki.
it's adventure with a beautiful woman, a handsome man, excitement, tension, relationships, friendship, comrades, love. It's something that takes you away. Jodie and Chinballs make it all about today.
Yeah, they do.
I absolutely.
Yeah.
And do you think that was the main crux of the problem? It's because they injected modern day politics into something, even when they were going back in the past and talking about things that happened.
Yeah, it really dates the show. I mean, the argument was to like the Jodie supporters was Doctor was always political. Well, yeah, it was, but you actually had talented writers. That there might be a theme, but it was part of the story. There's a story called The Green Death,
Hmm.
and it's very like pro environment, but it wasn't rammed down your thoughts. It was an integral part of the story. It was there, if you wanted to take notice of it or not. But this is just like plastic's bad. I'm going to actually at the end of one of these episodes, Jodie actually just looks at the camera and has a lecture about the environment. She just preaches at you, and it's like that isn't how it's done.
Isn't that pretty much what they used to do at the end of cartoons when you had that kind of message, really kind of dumbing it down for the kids?
You were like, you remember at the end of He-Man? Now
Yes.
listen, kids.
Don't.
Plastic bad, but please buy my character. Please buy
Yes.
my action figure.
Please buy my Funko Pop. Yes.
But yeah, that's what it was. And I love. There's a story called The Happiness Patrol, which the writer of that, it was kind of like a really anti-Thatcher piece.
Hmm.
And you can make whatever assumptions you want about that, but it wasn't this is Margaret Thatcher, this is Margaret Thatcher, like every 10 minutes.
Let me just finish the rest of this article because it is pretty damn funny. So it finishes off interestingly, though. Whittaker's departure also comes alongside showrunner Chris Chibnall, which breaks tradition of the modern Who era. Russell T Davies continued after Eccleston left, instead leaving alongside David Tennant in 2010. Likewise, Stephen Moffat stayed on after his first Doctor, Smith, exited, only bidding farewell alongside Peter Capaldi. Chibnall and Whittaker then are the first showrunner/actor combination in Doctor Who since its revival in 2005 to enter and leave at the same time, which likely speaks to their close working relationship, as well as the overall need for something completely new after season 13 and the specials. Do you think that's the case? Is it the case of rats deserting a sinking ship, or do you think because they started together, they're going to go out together? Damn it!
It's a load of rubbish because when Chibnall signed on, he's quoted in an interview as saying he'd got a 5-year plan. So yes, Moons of Master, Moons of Master, Moons of Madness. Yeah, it's a lot of nonsense. They are really good friends, and they probably do have a good working relationship, but that isn't the reason why. It's basically Chibnall is creatively bankrupt. This was the only idea he had was to have a female doctor. He's got nothing after that.
Mm-hmm.
But now, whether he left of his own accord or whether the BBC sat him down and said, right, you're going to have to go, I'm not sure. But he signed a 5-year contract, but he actually signed it in 2016 while Peter Capaldi was still the doctor, because obviously Stephen Moffat was moving on.
Mm-hmm.
So he was already doing like the prep work. And Stephen Moffat only stayed on for that extra year because Chibnall was still finishing Broadchurch Series 3.
Coincidentally,
Yeah.
also in connection with
Yes.
yes.
So obviously he signed it in 2016. So obviously it makes sense that the contracts run out this year. So it could just be the simple matter of contracts up. We're not renewing it, or he wants to do other things. But either way, it's a brilliant move because he's got nothing left, and the damage he's done with his friend Jodie Whittaker. It's like, what else could he do with another doctor?
Yes. Geek Insight says he's convinced that Chibnall was shown the door. I would imagine eventually we will get the truth about what went on.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the show, obviously it had got declining ratings. The merchandise for that era is not selling, but the merchandise for other eras is. There was a online exclusive by character options of Patrick Troughton's Doctor
Mm-hmm.
and a TARDIS. I think there's only been 4,000 made. The site broke because it absolutely crashed because people want it, because it's quite a rare TARDIS, because the police box signs on the other side.
Yes, I heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, to the audience, it's still there. But it's like with anything, Star Wars, Star Trek, the classic stuff sells. The current stuff is just in every bargain basement you can think of.
It does, yeah. And I know, obviously, over here we have the store B&M, which sells a lot of Doctor Who merchandise, and you can tell which stuff sells and which stuff sits on the shelf to get reduced.
Yeah, they keep reducing it and reducing it and reducing it.
Retro Dicky says, I hope Chibs doesn't make a bigger mess before he leaves. I own one. Oh, you got one. Nice.
Yeah.
So Retro Dicky was one of the lucky ones that got
Oh,
that
I'm
figure.
jealous, Retro Dicky.
Nice. So, do you think it is just a case of he's been shown the door? Do you think they've finally kind of seen the light and realised that this show has been run into the ground, or do you think it's a kind of multitude of reasons? Obviously, people are getting rid of their TV license because they don't like the way the BBC has become non-partisan now. They don't like being lectured.
I think it's a combination of all. I mean, if the BBC don't get the message now, there's no hope for them. I mean, we've got record number of license cancellations. It's a miracle they're even going to get to the, centenary year next year. Things are not looking very good for the BBC. It's really, again, it's heartbreaking because Doctor Who was their flagship show. They get the most money on it, selling it overseas, and the merchandise. And it's all drying up. They opened an interactive thing in London. I think it's £50 a person to go. That's got flooded, obviously.
Holy hell!
And again, it's got her in it. Can you imagine walking around out being lectured to?
Do you remember how popular the one in Wales was before it went?
Yeah, it was really popular. The only reason it closed down was because of the type of contract the BBC had got with Cardiff Council. They'd only got the lease for 5 years, and it was really short-sighted of them to do that. But it was so popular. You had people coming from overseas. It wasn't in London, so it wasn't super expensive. I mean, if it was like a full family, it does add up, but nothing like having to pay to stay in London.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, again, it just feels like more foreshadowing, like they know it was going to be abysmal, and nobody'd want to see her stuff.
I I completely forgot that the 100-year anniversary is coming up. But like you say, if they do lose the public funding, the BBC is in serious trouble, and it does seem to be going that way. Retro Dicky says, "For sale, 100 euro company, one careful owner." Absolutely, yeah. A lot of people are, because they're
Yeah,
not getting the value for money. I did as well. I just do not have time to
yeah.
watch TV anymore.
I cancelled it. Well, I
Mhm.
just you get fed up of being lectured to.
Mhm. And they used to have the, fantastic dramas. We used to have amazing documentaries. You think about all the documentaries we had with David Attenborough.
Yeah,
All of those. We had the Doctor Who, the flagship sci-fi show. But it's not what it once was. Louise says, I went to the Tennant era exhibition that they displayed in London.
yeah, Louise. Yeah, I mean, Tenant era. Is so popular. And yeah, it were big things. It was big events. There was merch everywhere. It made Doctor Who cool. It had never been cool. It was always this quaint British, maybe like cult thing.
Oh my god, it
Uh,
was. I remember how it took off with Tennant once he became, and it took off in America, and it was so good to see, on the other side of the pond, the excitement for this show.
and it took over Comic Con. I think it was 3 or 4 years running.
Hmm.
Yeah, and now to see it as a shadow of its former self, and I think that's the worst thing. I think people have forgotten about it. And a lot of the messages on Twitter and social media that I found out after was things like, "Doctor Who's still on." That is, that is really bad. That shows like that you failed at a national level.
I think a lot of people were surprised to hear that there's another season coming. Probably not so
Mm,
much that both of them are on the way out,
yeah,
but the fact that we've got another season, and I know I keep banging on about it, but it does make me laugh. The specials,
the specials,
the specials that aren't,
specials.
padding, not padding at all, guys. No, no. Darren Provis
Yeah.
said the Cardiff Doctor Who experience is so much fun. Used to be a regular visit for Wendology and myself.
Yeah, because Wend and Darren obviously they live in Wales, so it's practically on the doorstep. You're lucky people. Yeah, I went. I think I went 3, maybe 4 times. Yeah, it's such a fun place. Um, there was something else I was going to say, and I completely forgot now. What was it?
Oh, while
Something
you
like
think
that.
of that, let me grab this super chat from Manowar
Okay.
665, Neighbour of the Beast.
Yeah.
Hello, love. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Hello,
He's,
hello.
he says that be prepared with the removal of the devil. Things frequently descend even further down the tubes. Speaking strictly from experience. Yeah, so I could definitely agree with it, Man of War.
Mhm.
Obviously, fans are rejoicing. This is technically a good thing, but what's going to come next is the next question.
Yeah, it's well, and worst of all, what's going to happen in this mini series? It's not a full series. Let's call it a mini series because they've already gone back. They've already messed with the origins of the Doctor, so it's no longer a mystery.
Hmm.
So you've got a show called Doctor Who, but there's no mystery anymore. They've changed it so that William Hartnell, isn't the first Doctor anymore. It's like, so what else? What else can they possibly do in these next 6 episodes and the specials?
What more damage can be done? It's a beloved franchise. I think Chibnall was going to be having a hold my beer moment. Um, big thank you to Mexican Iron Man. Hello.
Hello.
It says my two loves in one place at one time. I'm late to the party, but fear not, I have my iron thong. Okay, ladies, fight over me. No, you take him. No, I don't want him. You take him. Oh, hi, lovely ladies. Hello,
Oh,
puppy.
well, love you, mate.
We really do.
I remember, yeah, these, it's not just me who's thought of others, there's quite a few of us, but basically, I think they've spread out these specials to get Jodie to 2022 because then technically she'll have been the Doctor for 5 years,
Ah,
just like David Tennant.
so it's a spite kind of thing.
Yeah, it's more damage control. It's well, actually, she did do well. She did do well because she got the same amount as David Tennant. But actually, I was reading another article. But David Tennant, and this is not counting specials or the 50th anniversary. I think David Tennant did something like 47 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Jodie's done 32.
Mexican Iron Man says, Starry, you look so freaking cute.
Oh, my, you only want me for my llama.
Geeking Science says, Chibnall, hold my beer. Yeah,
Yes.
I would caution. So even though I think this is definitely a good thing for the fans, it's the not knowing what's coming next. That's the problem.
Yeah, there's still a feeling of dread.
Yes. It's like,
Definitely.
one, how much damage can be done? And I agree with Neighbour of the Beast, better the devil you know, perhaps, but, I'd be very curious to see whether they do put it on hiatus, which would be probably the smartest thing to do. Give it a good long rest, let people forget about this current season, this current Doctor, and then come back with a bang in a few years' time and really kind of try to relaunch it and probably rebrand it as well. That would probably be the best thing to do.
Definitely need a palate cleanser after this. The only other thing is in 2023, it's the 60th anniversary.
Well, she'll be back for that as well, I've read.
Oh, yeah, well, it depends. I mean, the 50th, it was obviously something really special. It was a big event. Generally, I mean, yeah, there have been multi-Doctor stories before. Whatever happens, it's not going to be the massive feature-length thing that the 50th was. Even if the show was in a good state, they could throw money at it. But being as, where things are at the moment, we'll be lucky to get a special. Special.
It's so special. Special, damn it.
Yeah, it could just be, like a retrospective, when they bring doctors back. I think people really need to temper their expectations. It's not going to be the huge event that Day of the Doctor was.
Yes, and people loved that, didn't they? That was really well received. Project Storytime says BBC hires J.J. Abrahams to run Doctor Who. Kurtzman, he's just had his contract renewed. He might as well
Yeah, I
put
saw
his finger in yet
that.
another pie.
Oh, that'd be brilliant, as well as the gaping mouth full of loads of lens flare around the target. I mean, in fact, JJ is actually better than Chibnall. JJ makes you think that there's something in that mystery box till you open it up. Chibnall is not even, he can't even do that.
There's no box.
There's no box.
Nearsighted Cyclops brings up a good point. He said it's like that part in the horror movie when the music stops and you're wondering how horrible is it going to be. Yes. I definitely feel for the fans because you guys, although I think it is something to celebrate, it is definitely good news to be getting rid of, one, a bad writer, and two, a actor that did not care for the part, didn't care for the fans, and didn't care for the lore. What's coming next?
Yeah, it is a worry. But yeah, like you say, it's little steps. I do think people should celebrate it because we get so little to celebrate. I mean, and again, I even feel bad for the Jodie fans because there's not many, but there's a few that did like the idea of a female Doctor and were rooting for her, and she has been really badly treated. And the trailer for series 13, it's absolutely pathetic. I think if you are a fan of this era, and you've been waiting for this trailer. I just feel so sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for Jodie. If people are feeling sorry for her, I'm like, no, you got paid. You know
Yeah,
what you were doing.
yeah.
You agreed with, the message.
She had a great opportunity to make something of her
Mhm.
own. You know, can you imagine being handed the keys to this show to be able to take on the role of the Doctor, to be able to be, your own Doctor instead of copying off what's gone before? Because it was a little bit of Matt Smith, it was a little bit of David Tennant, it was a little bit of
Mhm.
the characters that she's played on other shows.
Yeah. But yeah,
Um,
she didn't even try. I remember Peter Capaldi when he first got the role, and he was in the TARDIS console room, and the set designer were there and everybody, and they were trying to show him the console. Like, this is what this does. Is like, no, you don't. I know how it works. You don't need to tell me how it works. I know what that does. I know what that does because he's a fan of the show. It's like, I don't need you to tell me how to steer the TARDIS. I know. Because it's not, it was the role of a lifetime for him. And it isn't necessarily that you've got to be a fan of the show.
mhm.
Matt Smith wasn't. He didn't have a clue, but he went back.
Yes, he did his research, didn't he?
He watched every single episode, found things that worked for him. I mean, his Doctor is heavily based on Patrick Troughton. He really enjoyed that Doctor. He respected what came before. And that's all you need to do. It's, running a franchise, respect what came before and try and build on it. Yeah, obviously you've got your own take on it, but you have to respect what came before. You've got to respect the canon, otherwise what's the point?
Mhm.
And you've got to respect the fans. That doesn't mean pander to fans, but you have to respect them. You don't walk into a job and go, screw you all.
Which is pretty much what happens.
Yeah.
Screw you all, we're taking over now and we're taking this in a
Yeah.
direction. And, sucks to be you if you don't like where it's going.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've said this before with multiple franchises, don't attack the fans, because when these new fans, in quotations, that you're looking for disappear, it's the old fans that they always try to appease and fall back on.
Yeah, they do. And that's exactly what happened because a lot of people, the supporters of this era, are the activists who probably haven't even watched Doctor Who. They just say, oh, the Doctor's a female now. We've taken something away from the boys.
And that's a spiteful way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Yeah, no. But I sincerely hope for you and for all of the Doctor Who fans that this is the beginning of something good. I really want this franchise to be back where it belongs.
Yeah, I hope so too. It's the beginning of something special.
It remains to be seen how special, but yes, it did make me smile reading that they were both on the way out at the same time. So, good riddance to bad rubbish, shall we say?
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Don't let the TARDIS door hit you on the way out.
Oh my god, thank you, Starry. I have got one more super chat that I missed actually yesterday, so let me read that before we go. So this one was from Echo Base. They actually sent it just as I was hitting
Oh, right,
the
okay.
end credits, so I missed saying thank you. But they sent a $9.99 super chat. They said, "Hail to the most beautiful woman on YouTube and to our good friend." Good brother Adega Outlaw. Hope all is well, brother. I had Adega on yesterday and we had a really great kind of chat.
Yes, I saw you. Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
So
Yeah.
big thank you to Echo Base. Love Coach and Nick. Great guys. Starry, what have you got coming up? I know you're very busy, obviously, with the kind of Doctor Who side.
Yeah, well, we are now because we've got something to talk about. Yeah, I'm on Doctor Who chat on Saturday. Please check them out. At the end of the month, I'm playing the ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, in the Script Doctors. We are
Damn
doing
it.
the empty child, so the one with the gas mask. So that will be on the Geeking Sides channel. I think I saw him in the chat. So yeah,
Yes, he's here.
please
Yeah,
check out.
absolutely.
Please check that out. We always have a lot of fun, and this is it. All you have to do is there's plenty of Doctor Who around. Good Doctor Who. You've just got to look for it, in your own collections and
Hmm.
Big Finish. Or just have fun, and there's plenty of Star Wars and Star Trek. We don't need the new stuff.
No, that's what we always say.
Mm,
No one can take away what's gone in the
mhm.
past. So if you don't like the new stuff, just go back.
Yeah,
Pudgy just have a question. Does llama still wiggle?
right. She does indeed, Pudgy. And just for you before we go. There you go.
I love that. Oh my god, thank you guys. You guys are the
Yeah,
best. Starry, it was an absolute pleasure to get to chat to you today.
yeah,
We're gonna have to
it's
do this
lovely.
again
Yeah,
soon.
it's lovely to be on it. It's always lovely to see you. Thank you.
A massive, massive thank you to everyone who joined today. You guys were on fire as always. Big, big thank you to everyone who sent in super chats. And for our newest member, Brightest Day, thank you, sweetheart. Welcome. Welcome to the channel. Pudgy says, yay. um, Later on this afternoon, as Loki said, we actually have a change to the schedule, which is going to be going forward. The first Monday of every month will now be Monday night movie madness. So that's
Oh
going to
wow!
be the new thing. So this afternoon, 5 p.m. Central, it's going to be Tombstone. So guys, if you love Tombstone, head over to Mornings of Mischief. That should be a lot of fun. And a massive thank you, everyone saying great show. You guys made it a fantastic show, as did Starry. So
Thank you.
huge, huge
I
thank
love
you.
you, chat. There's some lovely people in the chat. We do have the best chat.
We
Yeah.
really do. We have a fantastic community. I'd love to see everybody. So, guys, big, big thank you to Starry, as always, for being a fantastic guest and sharing her knowledge and for humouring me with that
Yeah.
terrible article. I just thought it was funny. I stand by it.
Because we're not friends anymore after this. This is
No, no, this is the
it.
end. This is it. Yeah, we're going to do a Chibnall and Whittaker and just
Yeah.
part ways. All right, loves. I will let you go. Have a fantastic rest of the day.
Yeah.
I should be back hopefully Wednesday, and we will see you all soon. So take care,
Yeah.
everyone, and
Goodbye,
a
everybody.
massive, massive thank you. Mwah.
Bye.